This is every Soviet infantry weapon of World War II. The rifles, machine guns, submachine guns, anti-tank rifles, grenades, and desperate improvisations that armed the largest army in history. Let's start with the standard rifles. The Mosin Nagant M9130 was the Soviet soldier's constant companion. Long, simple, frost-proof. Its 7.62 54mm cartridge reached past 500 meters with deadly accuracy, perfect for open-steppe warfare, where distance meant survival. But the bolt was slow. Veterans joked that missing meant feeling the enemy's eyes on you before you could chamber another round. Museum collections still display Mosins stacked beside photographs of Stalingrad's shattered buildings. The rifle and the ruin inseparable in memory. Over 17 million were produced during the war years alone, yet modern warfare demanded faster fire, and Soviet designers knew it. Enter the SVT-40, a sleek semi-automatic rifle meant to modernize the Red Army overnight. Capable of 25 aim shots per minute with excellent sights, it promised firepower the Mosin could never deliver. But it fouled quickly in mud and snow. Memoirs warn it needed a cleaner, not a soldier. Production never matched ambition. Only about 1.6 million left the factories. Next up, the submachine guns. The PPSH-41 became the Soviet answer to brutal city fighting. Drum-fed, crude, and absolutely devastating. Firing over 900 rounds per minute from its 71-round drum, it turned hallways into firestorms and made close-quarters combat terrifyingly one-sided. The drums jammed occasionally, but troops adored it anyway. Museum curators still note triggers worn smooth from heavy wartime use. Over 6 million were manufactured, arming entire assault battalions. Storm group photographs show PPSHs slung over greatcoats, ready for the next building. But the PPSH was expensive to produce. The PPS-43 emerged as the cheaper alternative. Stamped, folding stock, ultra-reliable. Perfect for Leningrad's siege conditions and Warsaw's street battles. Its lower 600 RPM rate made it more controllable, and its simplicity was its superpower. Veterans recalled that it worked even when they didn't, frozen, exhausted, out of options. About 2 million were built during the war. Now let's move to the light machine guns. The DP-27 earned its nickname, the record player, from its distinctive pan magazine spinning atop the receiver. It fed squads a steady stream of suppressive fire at 550 rounds per minute, slow enough to keep the barrel cool during extended firefights. The design was simple and rugged, ideal for dug-in positions across the Eastern Front's endless trenches. But those disc magazines dented easily. Museum displays often show bent rims from rough field handling. Nearly 800,000 were produced. The DT machine gun started life as a tank weapon, but became a flexible infantry tool when crews scavenged it from disabled vehicles. Its pancake magazine and high reliability made it a prized find on any battlefield. Tripod conversions looked improvised because they were field workshops manufactured mounts from whatever metal was available. When German armor rolled forward, rifles and machine guns weren't enough. And here's where things get heavy, the anti-tank rifles. When panzers appeared, Soviet infantry needed answers, fast, brutal answers. The PTRD-41 delivered, a single-shot 14.5mm rifle designed to punch through early panzer armor at ranges under 300 meters. Its muzzle blast kicked mud, snow, and occasionally teeth. Recoil was savage. One gunner recalled it felt like a horse kicking his shoulder. By 1943, heavier German armor had outpaced its penetration, but crews still used it against trucks, bunkers, and aircraft. Nearly 300,000 were produced. The PTRS-41 offered a semi-automatic solution, 5 rounds of 14.5mm, gas-operated, much faster than the single-shot PTRD. It could stop armored cars at 200 meters with rapid follow-up shots. But it jammed if dirty, and manuals practically screamed about cleaning rods. About 190,000 left the factories, moving on to anti-tank grenades. weapons that required courage bordering on madness. The RPG-40 was a simple, boxy anti-tank grenade relying on pure explosive force, effective against thin armor at close range, a terrifying requirement that meant sprinting toward tanks while pulling pins. Soldiers recalled the experience with grim brevity. Throw and pray. The RPG-43 brought shaped charge technology to Soviet infantry, a cone warhead design capable of penetrating much thicker armor, stabilizing ribbons deployed mid-flight, a clever Soviet simplicity that ensured the warhead struck nose first. But it required a perfect throw. A miss meant nothing. Training posters still preserved in archives show correct throwing stances with almost comic seriousness. And then there were Molotov cocktails, bottles of fuel and tar used to blind vision slits and ignite engine compartments. Finnish winter war tactics inspired Soviet adoption, and crews on both sides feared them. German accounts describe flames crawling over hatches while crews scrambled to escape. Next, let's look at the heavy machine guns. The Maxim M19 1030 was heavy, wheeled, and nearly immortal, a water-cooled monster that could fire for hours without overheating. Belt-fed bursts cut through winter fog like a mechanical saw, pinning entire companies at distance. Archival footage shows steam boiling from water jackets after sustained fire, the gun literally cooking itself while still shooting. But hauling it through mud required heroic patience and multiple soldiers. The SG-43 Goryunov emerged as the modern replacement, lighter, simpler, air-cooled. Its high cyclic rate kept German infantry pinned while assault troops advanced. Crews loved its reliability. Captured examples appear in several museum collections, with German unit markings scratched into the receivers. About 80,000 were produced by war's end. Now for the close-range anti-tank devices. Lend-Lease brought the British Piat to some Soviet units, a spigot launcher that fired shaped charges almost silently. Rare in Soviet service, but present. British crews joked it kicked like a mule, and Soviet soldiers agreed. Anti-tank mines became infantry-laid nightmares, simple metal casings packed with explosives, planted in frozen ground under fire. Battlefield photographs show frozen mines half buried in snow, waiting for tracks. Slow, cold, deadly work. Let's also cover the squad support variations. The RP-46 extended the DP-27's concept with belt feed capability, the same reliable mechanism now fed by 250-round belts instead of awkward pan magazines. It arrived late in the war, but showed where Soviet design was heading. The DPM improved the original DP-27 with a pistol grip and modified bipod, small refinements that made a reliable gun even better, and specialized sniper variants of the Mosin Nagant, the M91 30 PU, turned the infantry rifle into a precision instrument. Over 300,000 scoped Mosins were produced, arming the deadliest snipers of the war. Vasily Zaitsev reportedly used one during Stalingrad's brutal house-to-house fighting. Now things get strange. Let's explore the experimental rifles. Shortened Mosin carbines appeared in partisan hands. Improvised trench guns lighter and handier in forests, but brutal in recoil. Too light for their powerful cartridge. The AVT-40 took the semi-automatic SVT and made it fully automatic, a modification that sounded brilliant until soldiers tried controlling it. Accuracy vanished. Soldiers called it the log splitter. Withdrawn quickly, few survive in collections. These experiments showed desperation meeting ingenuity. Here's where desperation truly shows, the incendiaries and improvisations. The Ampulomet fired glass incendiary bombs from a simple mortar-like tube, designed to burn through engine bays and set tanks ablaze. Underpowered and risky, crews hated misfires that could ignite the launcher. Surviving ampules appear in museum fire damage displays, blackened and cracked. Anti-tank dogs represented the most desperate solution, animals trained to carry explosives under tank hulls. The method worked occasionally but failed often. Dogs panicked, ran wrong directions, or returned to handlers. Memoirs speak solemnly of the unreliability and the grim necessity. Next up, the hand grenades, every soldier's pocket artillery. The RG-42 became the classic Soviet fragmentation grenade, cheap, simple, mass-produced in millions. Its reliable timed fuse made it a soldier's constant companion from Kursk to Berlin. Museum examples show shrapnel patterns etched into test plates, radiating outward in lethal proof of effectiveness. The F1 grenade, nicknamed the Lemon for its shape, was heavier, patterned after the French design, and exploded into deadly shards. Troops respected its kill radius and feared underthrowing it. Training films warned soldiers to duck instantly after throwing. Let's not forget the pistols and sidearms. The Tokarev TT-33 served as the standard officer's pistol, slim, fast-firing, chambered in 7.62 25mm, with sharp recoil and decent accuracy. About 1.7 million were produced. The Nagant M1895 revolver was obsolete, but immortal, a 7-shot gas-seal design that could actually be suppressed effectively. Its hard trigger pull built finger strength, soldiers joked, but it refused to die. And finally, the captured arms and Lend-Lease equipment. Captured German MP40s and Kar-98K rifles were commonly reused. Battlefield abundance made ammunition the only concern. The MP40's smooth automatic fire made it prized. The Kar-98K's accuracy matched the Mosin. Lend-Lease Thompsons appeared in small numbers early in the war. Heavy but smooth, admired for reliability, but too few to influence doctrine. From the Mosin's icy crack to the PPSH's roaring burst. From 14.5mm anti-tank rifles fired in muddy foxholes to glass incendiary bombs. Over 60 infantry weapons, one army. That's every single one.